Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and thank you for joining the Jobu Sports Report. We got some free agent signings of our own. We're bringing some guys back on the block. Back on the block, so we can rock with the soul, rhythm, blues. My back on the block, back on the block. Yep. Big day. Welcome to the Dallas Cowboys. Nolan Carroll. Home of the body bag. You want to dive where the wrong come around. Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report, because without you guys, this would be nothing. Man, it's been literally a whirlwind, and I told you guys last week that this week was just going to be crazy, and the one thing that you can always count on is Jobu will need a refill. So let's get to that refill right now, because we definitely need to spread some mojo. You know, it's been kind of nuts when we've had the whole Tony Romo's not going anywhere to Tony Romo's going to be released. That's right, I'm drinking a little Romo Jobu tonight. So Tony Romo being released to Tony Romo now being traded, and now the Texans and the Broncos are basically playing chicken as well and saying, Dallas Cowboys, let's see if you blink, because we're not giving up jack for him. We'll welcome him once you cut him. And basically, there's not a whole lot that the Cowboys can do other than sit around, wait, see if anybody else bites, and eventually they'll end up cutting them. So it's not a whole lot that we can have happen on that situation there. Of course, the first day we had all of the big free agent signings left and right. All of the cash cows have gotten out of there. And, of course, we, as always, have not gotten into the middle of the first day of free agency. But we have been busy, especially this afternoon, because we re-signed Terrence Newman. We had already re-signed David Irving. We had already re-signed Bryce Butler. And we have actually gotten Nolan Carroll into the mix. And let me start saying hello to some of you guys, because I see we've got a lot of people in here already. Mike C., how you doing? Dem Cowboys. Jackie Smith, you're getting to be like some of our other hardcore fans. Welcome back tonight. DG Productions, Cowboys Nation, Blooming Highlights. How about them Dallas Cowboys? Anthony, Andrew, Mike, good Lord, this is flowing through. Swartz, Steve, good Lordy. I can't keep up. This thing is just like going zoop right through. 150 people already, and we just got started. The Dallas Cowboys are busy, and I had a lot of people. In fact, I had a gentleman who texted me today and said that this offseason is a disaster. Can you see what everybody else is doing? Slow your roll. Slow your roll down. Because here's the thing. There's always off-season champions. Take a look at the dumpster fire that is the Washington Redskins, that every single year they go out and they sign the big-name players. And what has it ever done for them? What has it ever done for them? I mean, we can go through the list of Deion Sanders, Alvin Harper, Bruce Smith. You can look at Hainsworth. You can look at, some of our past players. How many defensive linemen of ours have they ended up signing that always go there talking trash about the Dallas Cowboys, get paid, but then don't do jack crap? Think back to the Eagles about 5 years or so ago, maybe 6 years. But think back to when the Eagles had the dream team, man. They were signing people left and right, big, fat, juicy contracts. Put them in cap hell. And they didn't win jack. Andy Reid lost his job. Then came Chip Kelly. So don't get into this whole thing of, all these teams are signing all these players. The team that you have to worry about is a team like New England that ended up getting Ely in a trade as well as a pick. That's the teams that you want to worry about, because I think the Cleveland Browns are beginning to get it. They're looking at now trying to stockpile draft picks, because that's where it's at. You get guys young. In those first 4 years, you're locked into that contract that you're only paying X amount of money. And for them, it's make it or break it. I've got to be the best I can be at that fourth year so I can get that big fat payday. So that's the guys that you want to get. You want to get those young draft picks, build them up, let them get ready to get paid, and let them go on and replace them. And how do you replace them? You replace them through the draft. Now, don't get me wrong. Free agency is great. Free agency is a tool, but you cannot build a team or a winner from free agents. It costs you too much. My boy Calais Campbell, I would have loved to have had him on the defensive line. But basically, he got $60 million for a 4-year deal. We ain't got that kind of money, and nor should you spend that kind of money on one guy. That's not a quarterback. That's just the fact of the matter. So what the Cowboys, I think, are doing, at least in my opinion, is they want to keep that offense consistent. And a lot of people are saying, oh, man, we're bringing back Terrence Williams and we're bringing back Bryce Butler. Well, hopefully Bryce Butler will get better than he was his first year as he gets into the system better and things like that. He's gotten some of those young mistakes out of the way, hopefully. Terrence Williams, he's made mistakes too over the years, but he's a good receiver who knows the system. And you got him for a reasonable contract, because to upgrade that position, you would have to spend a whole lot more money and not necessarily make an impact. Now, people were bent out of shape that, oh, man, look at the Giants, man. They got Brandon Marshall. They got Shepard, man, and they got Odell Beckham. But here's the thing. There's only so many balls that go around. And you've got the turnover machine that is Eli Manning that always gives. And if they don't do something about that offensive line and get a running game going, it's not going to matter who they have. They can have Jerry Rice in his prime. Eli Manning won't be able to get him the ball. So look for that to be not as good as you think. The bigger problem that you got to worry about with the Giants is that defense. Because that defense of theirs is hell. So to me, what the Cowboys' plan is, we're going to try and sign key pieces of our team, and we're going to try and fill in. And I think what they're looking at right now with the draft is they're definitely going to go defensive line. We end up signing Nolan Carroll. He's 30 years old, bit of a journeyman. He's been with the Eagles, about 278 tackles, I think 3 sacks, and maybe 8 interceptions. It's a team-friendly deal. 3 years, $100 million. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, man, that's no big deal. You know, he's nobody. But here's the problem. When you're looking at the top-level free agents that are out there, they're getting, $7, $10, $12 million. I mean, Barry Church got 4 years for $24 million. So if Barry Church got that much money, $6 million a year, what do you think it's going to cost to upgrade that? So I think when we look at it, they're saying, okay, we're hoping that Scandrick gets back to where he was, because he had that year that he was recovering from the knees, and it still takes you a long time to recover from what he had. I don't think he was ever quite right last year. So I think the hope is he's going to be one corner. I still think Carr is going to be re-signed. And you end up having Carroll as a 5th cornerback or a backup plan, an extra cornerback, because you may end up having a cornerback that you say, that's a guy we can get in the draft to go with Anthony Brown. And you've got Byron Jones. So don't be surprised if we do re-sign J.J. Wilcox. Just saying that. Just don't be surprised if somehow that doesn't work out with him going to Seattle. But we'll see what happens. If not, he may be in the draft. So I think the Cowboys are trying to take care of the positions that you worry about, the receiving positions with guys that are familiar, and concentrate on, in the draft, going for the war daddy, so to speak. Romo Cowboys equals being broke. Well, part of that is not exactly Tony Romo's fault, because the thing you always keep hearing on TV, which is truly wrong about Tony Romo, is you're hearing that he's $24 million. Our cap hit is $24 million. But Tony Romo's number is actually only $14 million for the year. He's in the middle of the pack as far as quarterback compensation goes. But because the Cowboys kept restructuring his contract, it kept kicking money down the line. Now, we had to do that already with Travis Frederick as well as Tyron Smith. We've done it a couple times. If the player plays out the contract, no problem, no big deal. As the cap goes up. But when you have a situation like Tony Romo where we restructured his contract, I believe 3 times, and kept building that number out, it's what happens. So don't blame Tony Romo. Blame it on bad management. We're still making up for Miles Austin, Terrence Newman, Marion Barber, um, Jay Ratcliffe, even Doug Free's contracts. Those were contracts that were above and beyond what they should have been because Jerry Jones was being loyal to his guys and trying to reward them for a great season. But they didn't pan out. So when you ended up cutting them, you had all this dead money. And you ended up having to either gut the team completely or restructure other contracts, Tony Romo being the easiest one to do. And that's what got that number there. Fortunately, it's kind of a vicious cycle that just kind of keeps having to go on. It's like going to a payday loan. You know, you went there because you were broke. Now you owe the money that you did before next month. And now you owe interest on top of it. So what do you do again? You take out another payday loan to pay that one off. So you're good for that year, but come next year, you're still in the same boat. But it is what it is. Well, here's the thing, Daniel. Doug Free is getting old. I'll give you that. Doug Free has had a lot of bad plays. He's had some Ole blocks, where basically it's like Ole and the defensive lineman goes through. He's had some bad penalties. But the problem is, when Ron Leary gets a $34 million contract, you don't have money to get someone else. You have to be able to understand that with football, you've got $168 million this year spent on total contracts. That's for 53 guys. And so when you look at that, that averages out to about $3 million a year. Well, if your quarterback takes $24 million for all you Romo fans out there, then all of a sudden you're now down to 140 for 52 guys. Then you got Des Bryant is taking 17. Oh, shit. Right there, you got 40 others. Now you're down to 120 for 51 guys. And if you see my point, when you all of a sudden have 8 guys that are taking up $80 and $90 million, the rest of the guys have to fit under that cap. So you're going to have to say, okay, if we want this guy, then we're going to have to settle for somebody down here for that position. So it's all a gamble of where do you put your eggs? You want to put them in this basket? You want to put them in that basket? What the Cowboys have done for years is they put their eggs in the offensive basket and figured we'll be able to outscore other teams, and that's how we'll win. Well, that'll only get you so far. What they have to realize now is we got to put some eggs in that defensive basket. We have some good pieces, but we still have a long ways to go to get that together. So when you start looking at, Sean Lee, the last 2 years since he asked Jobu to keep him healthy, true story now for all you new followers. Sean Lee, right after his knee surgery, said, Jobu, I need to keep you healthy. Now, again, I can't say that's the reason why he's healthy. I'm just saying good things happen around Jobu. You got Sean Lee. Hopefully, you don't know for sure about Jalen Smith. What we're hearing are positive things, but you don't know what the real deal may be. If he is, and that ankle is firing like it should, he could be lights out, and it could be like thunder and lightning between him and Sean Lee. David Irving, he might take another step. If he does, he could end up being a force to reckon with. If you end up having DeMarcus Lawrence after having back surgery, and everybody who says, oh, Tony Romo's healthy because his back is taken care of, it's hard to get over back injuries. Maybe he comes along. So all of a sudden you've got those pieces, and maybe just maybe you get lucky because this draft is deep in defensive linemen. But you never know. The one thing I want to say, though, with we actually have another, we signed Demontre Moore. Some of you may remember he was here during training camp. He basically had a cup of coffee with the Dolphins, with the Seahawks, and with the Raiders. We actually just signed him to a 1-year deal. He's a defensive end. He may be one of Rod Martinelli's guys, a guy like a George Selvey. George Selvey got paid because Rod Martinelli takes guys that basically are on the scrap heap. He coaches them up, and they get paid, okay? You look at George Selvey. George Selvey was with Tampa Bay, I believe Atlanta, Jacksonville, and one other team before he came to Dallas. In those 4 years, he had 3 sacks. And basically, when he signed him, it was kind of like, ho-ho. But under Rod Martinelli, he became a 7 or 8 sack guy. Ended up getting a big fat contract with the Giants. You can look at another guy like Terrell McClain, another guy that wasn't thought a whole lot of, but just got 5 years, $25 million from the Skins. Not that everybody doesn't get paid from the Skins, but when he was signed with the Cowboys, did anybody say, oh my God, we got Terrell McClain? No. Jack Crawford, another one. 3 years for the Falcons, another big fat contract. So maybe Moore might be one of those guys that gets coached up and becomes a 5 or 6 sack a guy a year. We've got Topper out there. Hopefully he's going to be healthy this year, and maybe he ends up taking a step up. So I'm not ready to go ahead and lose it because I feel like we have a good core of people. We have some holes that we're definitely going to need to fill. But I think a key to that may be actually later in the season. When we look at Tony Romo's situation, who knows what's going to happen? Right now, it's all up in the air. We're basically at the whim of Jerry Jones. And I think Jerry Jones enjoys that right now. But sooner or later, that situation is going to end. So all of you Romosexuals out there who are now saying, oh, Jerry Jones changed his mind, he's keeping Tony Romo, and there's going to be a quarterback controversy, competition, it's not going to happen. Jerry's holding out hope for a trade that I don't think is going to happen. How you doing, Sarah? See you there. UD, DJ, Swartz, Sandman, Dark Knight, Sven. Hey, Sven, all the way from Jersey. Sven, I know we have to fix the deep line properly, but you can't. We don't have the money to spend $16 million a year right now for a defensive lineman. But here is the one thing I will say that we'll be able to do. What always happens after the draft, you'll see a lot of veterans that are cut. A lot of guys that are actually good players. Why? Because the team ended up investing money in a draft pick high on other players. And they're looking at it as, you know what? I can get this young guy to do the job. We just invested a draft pick in him. We're going to get rid of him. He's got a high salary and stuff. He's getting older. Let's go with the young guy. It always happens. So if Tony Romo is not traded, and I'm almost leaning towards thinking that it would be better if he wasn't. If the Cowboys release him, make him that June 1st cut, come June 2nd, we then have $14.5 million. Oh. Looks like we have, oh man. I am going to have to, I've got, let's see if we can see him. Hang on 1 second, guys. We have Law Nation calling in, and I don't have my other camera hooked up. Okay. Looks like Law Nation is calling in, and let's see if looks like Law Nation is joining us today. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can get this straightened out real quick with my other camera. Are you there, buddy? Hold on. There you go. All right. For all you guys who don't know, new followers and stuff tonight, Law Nation, great YouTube channel. He gets a lot more highlights and stuff out there than I do. And if you haven't subscribed and checked out his channel, please do, because I tell you, I enjoy having him here. One of these days, him and I have to have like our own ESPN show. No, let me not say ESPN. We'll start our own network. Screw ESPN. They're the clown show. How you doing tonight, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing fine. Likewise.
Let me turn that down a little bit. Okay. So how much news have you heard this evening?
Well, so far I've been babysitting, so you know how that goes. But I did hear that we re-signed T. Will at a very, very contract friendly price.
Yeah.
And also we got a Nolan Carroll who turned down our offer last year. So I'm thinking that he kind of caught wind of who the Cowboys really is. So I'd like to welcome him aboard, but I haven't caught anything else other than that. So what else been going on?
Well, how about them Cowboys things? We need to call it the Mark and Law Show. But
Yes.
you can't hold it. You can't leave Jobu out. How about the Jobu and Law Show? Because I'm only here because of him. And I'll be honest with you, Jobu is actually the main reason, honestly, because I never thought I would do this. I didn't like talking in public and stuff, but for whatever reason, good things always happen around Jobu. But I don't know, I guess you hadn't heard this too. We ended up signing Demontre Moore. He was basically had a cup of coffee with the Fins, the Seahawks, and the Raiders, practice squad guy. They're going to go ahead and give him a chance as far as the defensive end. So that's another guy. I'm hoping that, Rod Martinelli gets the most out of him, kind of like what we did with George Selvey. George Selvey came from Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, and everywhere else with about 3 sacks in 4 years. And he was able to turn him into a decent defensive lineman, just like a lot of these journeymen that we've had. So that's what our hope is. And I was also saying that I think that our big plan may be, and we may be better off, releasing Tony Romo and making him a June 1st cut at this point. And the reason I say that is come June 1st, we've got $14.5 million of cap space created because of that. And it'll give us an opportunity to work on some of those long-term contracts on guys we want to keep here, as well as deal with some of those players that are getting cut because teams drafted, this guy. We can let that veteran go. So we may be doing some team building, come June and July.
That would be fantastic. Doing that team building. I believe that Rob Marinelli, he can take a maybe into a yes. He can turn a maybe into a yes. He can turn a C into a B into an A. But the guy just never had an A player, So hopefully, whoever we got, these project type players, that they can come through the fold and make something happen. You remember, I always say there's 3 types of teams out there. A team to go out and make things happen, a team to go out and watch things happen, and a team to say, hey, man, what the hell just happened? And we don't want to be the team to say, hey, what the hell just happened? And pay attention. Please pay attention to what the New England Patriots are doing.
Oh, my God.
They're willing and dealing.
Well, and that's what I try to tell people, that, free agency is a tool, that can help you out, but you cannot maintain a team when you're going out and spending, $5, 10, $15 million on guys when you have $169 million total for 53 guys. It's a good tool if you got to fill in some places and maybe get an impact guy. But the real way you build a team, to me, is, again, through the draft. And you look at a New England that always seems to have 9, 10 picks every year, they're more than happy to trade back with somebody, or when they get a veteran, I can't think of the linebacker's name, who basically was looking for a big fat payday from him. They basically sent him to Siberia, as in the Cleveland Browns, for more draft picks. And they look at it as, we got that guy for 4 years. We're going to make the most of him and let him go bye-bye. Or if we can trade him and get more draft picks, we'll reload with some new guys. And if we have enough picks, we can fill in, even if you miss on something.
Yeah, you give Will McClay enough picks, he can create the world, right?
That's right.
Another thing, just a quick shout out to Jay Watt, man. He's an Eagle insider, I guess. He's been following my channel or been a part of many of my open logs and stuff like that, and he can give us some insights on some of these Eagle players. But outside of that, we just still need to stay focused, and I think that this draft must, and obviously must with a capital M, hit on all their players this year.
Oh, without a doubt, I agree. But for everybody that's out there that's hearing all these big names that are getting signed and things, like I said, just relax, because you always have the off-season champions that end up spending boatloads of money on guys that never pan out. And usually within 2 years, most of them are cut because they just weren't that good, and you overpaid for them, and you end up having to gut the team. So I'm more than happy that, we're not signing guys like Deshaun Jackson or, some of these other guys that people keep saying. It sounds good on paper, but very rarely is it the guy that you think it's going to be.
Most certainly. So what else you guys talking about today, man? What else going on?
Well, good old Tony Romo. It's sad that he ended up giving that emotional video, and yet he's still here. And how long will this thing go on? Because it sounds like basically shots are fired back from Denver and the Texans both saying, we want him, but we're not giving you any draft picks for him. So what does Jerry do now?
Well, do you think this is all a hold up on Romo part? Because if he's limiting us only to Houston and Denver, then that's the problem. You know, I think we played Romo before his time. You remember when he cracked that $100 million+ contract? Yeah. That was before he was proven.
Mm-hmm.
So you do think that Romo is kind of slowing this up?
I don't think it's Romo slowing it. Well,
in a sense, in a smaller sense of things, you know, collectively.
Well, I mean, I think that Jerry smelled something or heard something and thought that maybe, hey, well, these guys will give me, you know, give him something for him. But I think that it's just basically a waiting game, and the two of them realize, look, it's between you and me, and whoever's got the better offer is going to win, and we don't have to do jack. You know, because both of them, I think, are just going to sit there. So I think it's just a waiting game to see who's going to blink first, Jerry or them. But I think it's going to end up having to be Jerry.
Oh, Jerry, boy. Oh, yeah, Jerry.
You know, I'll be honest with you, I feel bad for Tony Romo, because for him to do that video, you know, basically say goodbye. And can you imagine if he's still here for a month or two longer? Because clearly he knows, I'm out of here. I'm done. I want to go on to the next thing. And now he's got to be going crazy just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring for me to finally be out of here. Especially as you start seeing teams that are spending all this money, you have to start wondering when teams will say, you know what, we need to go to plan B and forget Tony Romo. It's not going to happen.
So with the signing now, Mark, what do we have now? We had, what, $9 million in cap. So with the signing now, how much room do we have? Because we only get $5 million with Romo re-signing.
Well, we had 8.5. I haven't seen the breakdowns and stuff with the guaranteed money and things. We probably still have a little bit of room. When you think of Carroll's contracts, $10 million for 4 years or whatever, it's probably, you know, maybe half of that's guaranteed money or something, and that's spread out over the life of the contract. So it may only be like a $2 million or so hit for him. Terrence Williams, 4 years, $17 million. That's probably about $3 million hit, you know, because you can kind of back load that contract where it's team friendly and it's not a bad hit that first year, and you get that stuff later. Yeah, Nick, come on, man. Darrelle Revis. See, you got to get away from the old players, because players don't get better as they get older. They just get older. You know, once you start getting past 30 or so, you start declining. You know, Darrelle Revis was a great player, but I don't think he's got much left in the tank, and he's just looking for another payday that we don't really need to invest in.
Yeah, Darrelle Revis, he'd probably be too rich for us at this point in time. But if we can figure out a way, if he can come in and just for a look, but I wouldn't, he'd probably be a progress stopper. I'm really big on Kayvon Frazier. I'm big on Jeff Heath, and I'm big on whoever we draft. So I just think that Will McClay is going to make the right decision.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it is like with bringing in Noah Carroll. I think your thought is Skinner will end up being one of the cornerbacks. Okay, you've got Anthony Brown. Hopefully, he'll take another step up. He can be another one of them. Carroll can be that third cornerback. You know, that nickel back, and you end up having Byron Jones. And I still kind of think that Wilcox, there's still a chance on him getting re-signed by the team. That may be me hoping for that, but I still think there's an opportunity there. But I think if they fill in enough of those holes, because right now you've got kind of the offense taken care of with bringing back Bryce Butler as well as Terrence Williams, that you can now definitely focus on the defensive pass rush in the draft.
Will, yeah. But outside of that, Mark, how you feel about Jack Crawford leaving? Because that's out of everybody who left, Jack Crawford was my dark horse, and I really was upset about him leaving, especially at the price that he left at.
Yeah, well, you know, you can't keep everybody. Hopefully we can do some upgrades and stuff on there through the draft and things. That hurt. Actually, Terrell McLean, that hurt for me too. I hated to lose any of those guys, but I'm just hoping, you know, like I said, maybe come June, there's some good guys that are on the street that'll end up being a boost for us. You know, that bargain basement shopping, as I like to call it.
I wonder if we can hit Cleveland up with one of those bargain basement trades for Tyrone Crawford and get space high.
There you go. That would be great. Connor Barwin, Jackie Smith thinks from the Eagles. He had about 5 sacks last year. He's getting a little long in the tooth. I'm not sure that he would be that big of an impact at his age. But he's the type of guy that, basically we're talking about that'll probably be available come June 1st as teams start cutting down the rosters from the draft. I agree with you, Kevin Jackson. I was so ready to be done with the Tony Romo situation and stuff and let the man go. I mean, we've agonized through this thing. I mean, this has got to be like pulling teeth for him. And for us fans to keep going through this, because I'm sitting here listening today that, Jerry Jones has changed his mind. He's holding on to Tony Romo. It's like, guys, please just stop it. I'm just ready to end this whole conversation. Law, I don't know if you're getting that same thing, but they're driving me crazy with this Tony Romo situation. Looks like we froze up a little bit. Curtis, we can do better than a used car? Okay. Well, hopefully we can, but if we can't, you got to remember, we only have X amount of money to get. But we lost Law. Hopefully he'll call back in here. I think we're good. Romo's staying and taking a pay cut. He said he'd rather retire than play in another team. Well, we'll see if that happens. Vince Wilfork, if he doesn't retire. I think he's actually retiring. We should try Bobby Boucher. I'd love to have the water boy on the team because he definitely made some plays and he got to the quarterback. Benny Logan, that might not be that bad. Revis is done and way old. He did. Definitely, Rodney. NFC East is loaded. We'll see how that's loaded. People get excited about the offseason, and they always want to say that this team is going to be the team. And I'm not always sold on that in free agency because it's a lot of times the teams that you think are going to be good, they end up not being good. But time will tell. And it's still pretty early. We're only 2 days in to the free agency period, and we still have the whole draft left to go. So don't get too bent out of shape just yet. Just hang tight, be cool, we'll be okay. How you doing, Raul? From Wisconsin, Mission, Texas. How you doing? Cowboy for life, love it. DeMarcus Ware return, maybe. It's possible, but I'm not sure that DeMarcus Ware has anything in the tank. Again, another guy coming back off of back surgery, having a disc removed. That's never a good thing. And here we have Are we back there?
All right.
Okay. Kind of lost. She froze up there. We got a few fans that think that maybe bringing DeMarcus Ware back. I think he's a little bit old, and after having back surgery again, I'm not sure he's got much left in the tank either.
Well, the Ware thing is it's a fickle process. We got rid of him because of injury issues and stuff like that. And then he went to a team that was loaded on defense, so he was able to play limited snaps, and he was able to run out the ball real quickly.
Right.
He's not going to get that same pedigree nor food from us. We're going to have to play him more in snaps, and it just don't look feasible. It would be like a luxury for to have him out there. Of course, I believe in his skill set, but we really don't need a progress stopper. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it would just be like a ticket grab or something like that.
Right.
But it is what it is, right?
The one guy, if you could draft in the draft, who would it be?
The one guy I can draft?
Or what? The one guy in the draft that you think the Cowboys should draft? That's a question we just got.
Best player available.
Of course.
You just have to go with that.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of where I am now because there's just so many variables on who's going to be available. You don't know what the run's going to be. There may be, something might happen with Myles Garrett. He gets busted for drunk driving, or he jumps out of a window on the second floor and breaks glass, and all of a sudden teams shy away from him, and he might drop into your lap. I hope that doesn't happen. Well, let me say, I hope something stupid like that doesn't happen to him. But I would love to have somebody like that fall in our lap. But you kind of have to look at it as position that we're in at 28, it's too many variables to even think of who might be there at that point. You never know who's going to be the guy that just falls and falls and falls and falls down through there. So for me, it's kind of hard to go. It was interesting that you said that J-Wad is following you. I got Haight Duras, who's another big Eagle guy who started following us. So for whatever reason now, the Eagles are following the Dallas Cowboys. It's kind of interesting. So shout out to you Eagle fans out there.
Yes, you must always study your opponents, right? And
keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Right. One of the famous presidents of all time, Lincoln, said, "I'd rather have them inside the tent pissing out than outside the tent pissing in."
There you go. That sounds great. Well, Angel asked about the news on Jalen Smith's nerve. What I've heard is the Cowboys aren't waiting for it to fire. I've also heard that it is firing and it's doing well. We've seen clips of him running around and working really well with the brace on, and it may end up being that this is the best it's going to get, or it may end up being 100% 2 weeks from now. It's one of those things you just don't know, and it may end up being that it is has the drop foot, as they call it, and he's got to play with the brace that keeps it from dropping in place, which will slow him down some, but the guy has all kinds of skills and a body that's incredible. We'll just have to wait and see what the word is on that. I don't know if you've heard anything different from that yourself.
Yeah, the drop foot deal, like I say, it's great that he's freakish athletic, but if he's playing against wide receivers and running backs that's going to be able to cut at the swift of a whiff, then that could be an issue down the line. But outside of that, we can still be optimistic about the guy. You know, he's hungry, he got tenacity, strength, he got a lot of range in his playability. But for this first year, I'll just put him closer to the line and say, hey, just attack after the quarterback. That's what I would do.
Well, it looks like your buddy J-Wad is actually on here, man. Hey, J-Wad, how are you feeling about what your team's done so far in free agency? You happy about it, or you think there's somebody that you guys should be going for? How do you feel about that? We'll see if J-Wad responds on there. Will Log where Log go? What?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, where'd you go? Okay, I'm way behind on the feed. Sorry about that, guys. There's so many of you guys in here that this thing is just like so far, and I'm kind of backing up and trying to catch some of it. And let me get some shouts out here to Gerald Fletcher, Chaz, Yanis. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that one. I'm not that bright. Martez Butler. But thank you all for joining into the Jobu Sports Report. It's really exciting that we've got these signings. We have now the official New Year's of the NFL season, and it's kind of exciting, even though we don't actually have a game. And I'm looking forward to getting to the draft. There's Victor Butler, and I know Victor is one of those ones that's upset about Tony Romo still here, because I hear Victor has, and if you haven't checked out Victor Butler Baker, go ahead and check him out, because he will have you rolling. He's a comedian, and he's always doing videos about how fans are after they lose. And he's got one for Romo fans when Tony Romo exits the building. So be sure to check him out and give him some love. Oh, Jobu's hair's in his face. Sorry about that. Jobu's new hair has been just a nightmare. And shit is just like crazy.
No doubt.
Well, Kevin Johnson is asking, why do we pay so much money for guys to be average?
Oh man, that's 50-60% of the league, man. It's a fickle process, man. You just never know. These players out here that we go out and grab, of course we want them to be superb, but it is what it is. We never would guess with the 6th pick that Mo Claiborne will be Mo Claiborne. That's just what it is.
When everybody said that, that's the can't miss guy. He's the best defensive player, in the draft, and you see what happens. And that's where I always say, when you look at the draft, to me, I don't care where you pick. It's like a 50-50 proposition that, the guy could end up being a Hall of Famer, or he could end up being a bust. And that's why, to me, the more draft picks you can get, the better your odds of getting some guys that are going to stick. When you take 3 or 4 picks to move up and get a guy, you're not just risking that guy. You're risking those picks that you could have picked up 4 other guys. And so if you miss, it sets your whole franchise of moving back in the draft if the guy that you think is the guy isn't there. Make that as many picks as possible. There's strength in numbers. But, that's me. That's my philosophy, and I've got a day job and a voodoo doll, so what do I know?
Yeah, me too. That's my philosophy too. You give Will McClay multiple shots at the target, like multiple darts, then he's going to make the best decision. That's what I go with too as well, Mark.
Vic 2, can I get a shout out? No, you can't get a shout out, Vic 2. Chaboom boom. Okay. I'm kind of worried going against the draft in Philly. Oh, okay. Well, don't worry. We've been to Philly before wearing Dallas Cowboy gear. And I bet you if J Watt is from Philly, maybe we can hook up and he'll help keep us safe. But then again, he might burn Jobu for all we know. Law, while you're here, tell some people about your station, man, because I want to make sure they check it out, because I would love to be able to do more videos and more stuff like that. But with my day job, leaving early in the morning and getting home in the afternoon, I don't have time to be able to do as much of that as I would like. But tell people how definitely what your channel is all about.
Well, basically, the channel is derived around Cowboys and, of course, Cowboy Nation. I post as much as content that I can find with my eyes that the YouTubes of the world allow. So if you're looking for like highlights or insights to players draft as well, just scroll around and jump on Law Nation and see what I have to offer. Pretty much, of course, I do game reviews and stuff like that. But outside of that, tonight, sometime, maybe tonight or tomorrow, I will have Nolan Carroll video out there so that everybody can see with their own eyes of who Nolan Carroll really is.
Sorry, I didn't have your picture up in there.
That's cool.
Okay, man, I'm sorry, guys. See, it's hard actually, because this whole show that you see is a one-man show. So I've actually got two laptops here. So I've got Law Nation here, Skyped on one, and I've got this one here where I'm trying to read the live stream, and I'm trying to look at the camera so that way you can see my old-ass face and make sure that Jobu doesn't tip over and that he doesn't need a refill as well. So bear with me, because I don't have a whole crew and everything else. But look, we got Mike Mosh in the house. Man, we got all kinds of people in here tonight. Shout out to Mike Mosh. If you need to get a football jersey, go to Mike Mosh on Facebook. All of my jerseys that I've bought since 2012, I've actually got from him. And he can do a lot of different custom ones. If you are like like two different teams and stuff, so that we got Cowboys, Redskins, he can mix them up and stuff. And they're hand sewn, and these are really, really nice jerseys. So shout out to him too tonight, because he's definitely one of my buddies. And I'm getting ready to order my 2017 one. I just can't figure out what style I want to get for CowboyJobu. So for all you guys that are wondering, why does he have 16? Well, it's for the 16th season. Next year will be 2017. Hopefully we'll get to a Super Bowl with one of these.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely check out Law Nation. Like I said, he's got a lot of videos and a lot of more insight than I'm able to do. I just don't have the time, because I've got a day job, unfortunately, that keeps me really, really busy. Something else I wanted to get to tonight, and I'm getting old and forgetful, and I can't remember what it was. Maybe you can help me remember that there. Because there was another point that was something that was really interesting that happened today with the Cowboys that I just can't remember. But I'm sure it'll come back to me.
Well, I'm looking at your tag on your page. You got Redskins are a dumpster fire.
Oh my God.
Well, elaborate for me. What's going on there?
Oh my God. Well, here's the thing. I live in DC, or outside DC. Well, J Watt was just saying, let me go ahead and say this for J Watt. J Watt says the thing about free agency says it makes me want football a lot more for September. And I was talking about dumpster fires, and I think back a few years ago when the Eagles went crazy in free agency. And J Watt, I know you remember, because I remember my boy Nnamdi Asomugha was signed. You had Vince Young talking about the dream team, and looking on paper, it looked like that they were just the can't lose team, but it seemed like the whole thing imploded. The Washington Redskins never look like they're the can't lose team. They're just always a dumpster fire. You've got the general manager, Scott McCloughan, who everybody thought was going to be the savior, the football mind that was going to build a champion. They basically fired him because they said they think he's an alcoholic and he drinks too much. Well, I got to say the Redskins will make you drink more than Jerry Jones will. If that's not bad enough, they had to franchise tag a second time Kirk Cousins. And no quarterback has ever been franchised twice in the NFL. Of course, the Redskins had to. He admitted that he would have signed for a $40 million contract a few years back had they shown him some love. But right now, he's kind of forcing his hand. He tweeted out that I'm going to be a 49er quarterback in 17 or 18. So basically, he's taking the franchise tag. Yeah, I'll take that $24 million and I'll pay this year. But I'm going to get the hell out of here as soon as I can. So their only option is next year, put a transition tag on him and hope that somebody gives up a pick for him. You can't make this stuff up. He's basically said, as long as Allen is the president of the team, I will not negotiate with the team. So when I talk about a dumpster fire, be glad that we have the Dallas Cowboys with Jerry Jones, because it could be a lot worse. Yeah, Jobu's New Jersey will be – I'm almost afraid to touch Jobu with the Dak Prescott jersey on, because Dak Prescott had such a hell of a season with that jersey on, and I'm superstitious. So I'm almost leaving that one on and not doing a 17 one for him. We'll just run with that one. Sandman, we're going to be working on shot glasses and stuff. I talked to my guy. He's working on the designs for that, and I have to send them to him. But it'll still be probably about 6 weeks or so before we get those. But, yeah, be thankful that we're Dallas Cowboy fans versus Redskins fans, Law, because it's just crazy up in here.
Oh, yeah.
And the amazing thing is, it was just a week ago that we were hearing that there was a 3-team deal between San Francisco, Washington, and Dallas for Tony Romo. Doesn't that seem like that was a lifetime ago?
Yeah, it seemed like forever. Yeah,
that was literally last Friday. Oh, my God. Victor, are you pulling some comedy on me now? Victor Becker, the comedian I'm talking about, he's saying, what about RG3 as a backup for the Cowboys? Come on, man. Come on, man. RG&D? Why don't we go ahead and get Johnny Manziel for the third string then, too?
Man, that'd be crazy, man. I'm all down for, veteran quarterbacks and stuff like that. But let's just, save some of that money and keep killing more. Hell, I would rather for Jamil Showers to come out the safety line and whatever he.
I'd rather have Jobu come off the line than RG3. Right. Come on, man. Sarah was saying that she thinks that Dak and Dez are going to be best friends. I think that that's going to be a great combination with the two of them. I don't know if your thoughts on it, but I looked at Dez coming around the second half of the season with Dak, really kind of begin to hook up and get some more of those longer passes together. And I think with the offseason that they're going to be unstoppable next year.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be unstoppable, man. You get those combinations gathered together. Man, it's just going to be wicked nice, man.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to worry about our offense. It's the defense that worries me again. We've got a lot of tough games that are going to be out there and a lot of really good quarterbacks. Maybe we'll get lucky again in the draft and have another monster run. And if we can, who knows? It's football, and anything can happen. So just keep watching, hold on to your hats, and at least enjoy this time because, here it is. It's the off season, and we are here talking about the Dallas Cowboys and everybody in the NFL. So that's the great thing about football. There may only be 16 games, but season never really ends. The draft is a little over a month away. OTAs will start, so there's still a lot that's going on, and I'm thankful that you guys are here watching us tonight.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I'm looking at the chat box. Shout out to Max and shout out to LA Mental. Those who've been following the channel for a long time on my end too as well. Yeah. What we don't want to happen, believe it or not, I don't want to see Joe Mixon going to the Eagles. I don't want to see that. The Eagles are already loaded. But we need to figure out a way to corral some defensive players all together collectively.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's going to be what it's going to be. And like people are worried about, if Tony Romo were to go to somebody in NFC East, you can't worry about that. What you got to worry about is let's focus in on getting the best team we can on the field. Let's focus on getting them in the positions to win. and let's have them go out and play. And whatever happens, happens. To me, the way I live my life is I try and come up with the best plan that I can, try and execute it, and if that doesn't work, come up with another plan. But worrying about something has never solved any problem. And that's the way I live it. And a lot of people are like, oh, man, we know you're going to be pissed off when Tony Romo is re-signed and there's a quarterback competition. Or if Calais Campbell isn't signed by the Cowboys, you're going to be throwing something. No, that's not me. I try and stay even-keeled and level, and that's what the Cowboys are doing right now. There's no panic right now with the Dallas Cowboys. They're looking at the boards and saying, okay, this is how much money we got. How can we best use those resources and fill in as many holes as possible? And it doesn't always work out the way you want to, but you make the best decision that you can with what you got. And that's what I feel like they're doing. You know?
Yeah, they are making the best decision with what they can with what they got. I just look at it from that aspect of looking at the total piece of the picture with what we have to offer on the defensive side. We got Alec AB, Anthony Brown on the outside. We got Claiborne, if he's going to be able to stay. Hopefully he does. I think Claiborne is looking at the Ravens. I don't know whether or not that's going to fall through or not. In a car deal situation. Did that fall through? Did he talk to the Ravens?
Not that I know of. I would rather see Carr more so than Claiborne because at least Carr can stay on the field. Claiborne, for whatever reason, he's just snake bit. You just can't count on him for more than a few games a year. I almost wish that when he came back for the playoffs, he really was not in shape and was just not really there into it. And we might have almost been better with him not even playing in that game.
What do you feel about Skandrick? I haven't heard you speak on him. How do you feel about him?
What I'm hoping is, with the knee injury that he had, sometimes it takes a long time to get through that, and it may have been he came back too soon, and you started having all these little nagging injuries and stuff that went along with it. My hope is that he ends up coming back better next year and is closer to the player he was 2 years ago than, 3 years ago than he was this past year. That's my hope, but you never know how it's going to react.
Yeah, because that's always something that I just got to take a look at, like Skandrick, and what is he going to do? Because he's been low key injured up like Claiborne too as well.
Right, Sarah, be nice now. Come on, be nice to Romo fans because right now they're getting pushed around. They're 1 minute they're thinking he's going, the next minute he's staying. They're an emotional roller coaster. Be nice to him now.
Man, Romo must go at this point because at this time we're just going to keep going back and forth. Romo this, Romo that. He's better. He's not better. Just close that door.
Yeah, I'm like Jackie Smith. Smith. I'm not mad at Romo. Romo's given us all kinds of excitement. Romo has given everything he can to the team and everything else. I'm happy that we had him because I remember days of Quincy Carter's and Ryan Leafs and some of these guys. I got nothing but love for the guy. I just know when my football head tells me we need to fill holes, that we can't spend $24 million. And I know it's 24 because of the restructuring, but we can't take a $24 million hit for this year and then a 19-1 next year to keep him as a backup. It's just not logical. So it's my head that's telling me it's that time.
Yeah, it is about that time. Just the time to move on from old Tony Romo. And next year we're going to have to really figure out a way to see what we're going to do with Jason Witten. It comes a time it's a business decision. And we do know, shout out to Nick C, that we do know that we have to get some defense. But at this time, if O.J. Howard is on the board or someone like that and he's the best player available, then we're going to have to roll with the punches, baby. Right. You know how it is.
Well, let's be honest now. Just the fact that you look at some of the money that's been spent on Jack Crawford and Terrell McLean, that some teams value the guys that we have and what they've been taught. And if Rod Martinelli continues to do what he's been able to do, because every year there have been guys that have stepped up on that defense out of nowhere that, you didn't expect to see George Selby get 7-8 sacks. Jason Hatcher's another one that benefited from it, because Jason Hatcher was only having 3-4 sacks a season. All of a sudden, boom, he gets 11 sacks and goes to Washington and gets paid. So don't give up completely just yet. Like I said, I wanted to get Calais, but that wasn't the cards. And God bless him. I'm glad he got $60 million on top of the $55 million he already made. So I ain't mad at you, because when you play football, you're taking years off your life. I hope you guys can get as much money as possible. But I also, too, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, realize that you can't do it here, because we need to try to win the Super Bowl. So it's kind of two different things going two different directions. So it is what it is. So
it is. Hey, the Redskins been looking into our closet for a long time, man. Did they get Stephen Bowens too? Remember that guy?
Yeah, they had Bowen. They also had oh man, he went to New York and then he got a ring with the Giants. God, I did work with them, but they've gotten a lot of defensive linemen from the Dallas Cowboys, and none of them have really done a whole lot. Robert, hey man, your phone is dying, man. Find a charger quick. And Eric still believes that the Texans are picking up Romo just to see what they're getting. Okay, all right. Well, we'll see what happens with that.
Yes, indeed. He said Chris Canty from Jeffrey.
That's it, Chris Canty. Yeah, he's another one that went there, and we've had quite a few of them. Chris Canty, thank you, Blake. I'm getting old and forgetful, but yeah, he actually had a really productive career with the Giants, and not so much with the Redskins. I think he was there for 1 year, I think, and realized I want to get the hell out. Oh Lord!
Yeah, he was there for one.
Come on,
one year.
Glenn, come on, man, Glenn, please give it up, man. Romo's not going to take a pay cut to stay. Did you take a look at that emotional goodbye? Did you take a look when he ended up doing the whole thing? I'm passing the torch on to Dak Prescott. Did you look at him towards the end of the season? The way he looked on the sideline, did he look like a man that was happy? And you think that he was going to want to take a pay cut from the $14 million that he's getting? I don't think so. To stay here? No. Not when he thinks he can win a ring with somebody else. He's not going to. Come on, man. Give it up.
That kid has never taken a pay cut. And he always took the max contract, too. I was reading an article. He always took the max contract his whole entire career with the Cowboys. So
right.
Don't look for no pay cut from Romo.
I mean, that's just hope against hope. Yeah, it's kind of like my boy. So you think there's a chance? Come on, man.
Man, it is some Romo love. Hey, get it. I don't get it twisted. I love Romo. I fought for Romo, so
I love Danny White too. Hey, look, I love Danny White too, Romo. But for whatever reason, he couldn't get over that hump and get to the Super Bowl. And for whatever reason, sometimes there's just guys that just can't get the big one. I don't know if it was, nerves or whatever, the big stage, or after that Seattle one that he was just jinxed and whatever it was. I just don't know what it was. And, I know a lot of you out there are saying that, as soon as he goes to another team, he's going to win that Super Bowl and it's going to come back to bite us. Well, if he does win it, I'll congratulate him on it and, say, hey, way to go. But I know what we have to do here right now with the Dallas Cowboys, and you got to go with the young, hot hand. That's the bottom line.
Yep. I posted, Mark, the 2009 playoff game when the Cowboys went and we played against the Vikings. Dallas Cowboys were ranked, believe it or not. They always say that the Romo never was surrounded by a team. That 2009 team, they had the second ranked overall offense and the 9th overall defense.
Yeah.
And they had, I think it was 7 players to go to the Pro Bowl, 2 offensive linemen in that particular year. So people always forget about that 2019. So I had posted it. It's still on my Facebook page for those who want to still go out and watch the complete game. Mm-hmm. But come on, guys. Romo is Romo, regardless or not. If he couldn't stay healthy on Cowboys roster, he will not stay healthy on any other team, in my opinion.
Lewis, come on.
Regardless.
Okay. Shallow Hal, sorry you gave away your Romo jersey and believe that he's coming back. I'm not hating on Tony Romo. I don't know. I don't know why everybody thinks I'm just hating on him. I'm not blaming him for anything. I did a tribute to him on my last live stream. I thanked him for everything that he's done and everything else. I'm just saying that at some point you got to realize it's time to move on. If it can happen to Joe Montana after winning 4 Super Bowls, why is it can't happen to Tony Romo? Jerry Rice won 4 Super Bowls, and yet he had to go to Kansas City to finish his career. You look at Tony Dorsett with the Dallas Cowboys. He finished his career in Denver. DeMarcus Ware in Denver. So Brett Favre, the Jets, and then to Minnesota. So it's part of the natural evolution, and for some reason you guys can't seem to get in your head that Tony Romo is different than everybody that's been before him. He's not. It's football. You've got to deal with the dollars and cents, and you also have to realize it's a young man's game. You can only take so many hits, and it's gotten to the point where his body can't take those hits, and you can't plan for him to be there for a full season. So you take the other 52 guys and say, well, we're going to gamble with a guy that is only, has been knocked out of 3 out of his last 6 games. You can't do that. Football, you only have so many windows of having a team. And you look at the team we had last year, it's going to be totally different than the team we have next year. Who's to say that the team's going to be 13-3 again? You don't. So you got to play with what you got now and do the best you can with the guys that you know. Right now, this guy is playing well. He's young. He's affordable. We have him on the roster. Then that means we have money to sign other guys if we get rid of this guy. And that's what it is. It's not that I say Romo's a bum, get him out of here. You've never heard me say that.
Right. And to settle the record for all of those who love Romo, including me, I'll say this. Romo is the greatest undrafted player of all times. And next to maybe Kurt Warner.
Did I say Jerry Rice? I didn't say Jerry Rice, Eric. I said Joe Montana. That's the only 49er I mentioned. Did I say Jerry Rice? And in Seattle? I didn't say Jerry Rice. Actually, Jerry Rice also went to the Raiders as well. But anyway, yeah, Sven from Germany, shout out to you. 13-3. I won't say it's impossible for next year, but it's going to be hell to get there when you start thinking about us playing the NFC East, which is always a bloodbath. And some of these teams, the Eagles are going to be probably more improved. The Giants are always going to be the Giants, and they beat us twice. And the Redskins, it doesn't matter what the records are. We always have a tough time, whether we're 1-15 or 13-3. It's the Redskins. But add to that Atlanta, Green Bay, Seattle, and then the AFC West. We're talking about playing against Denver, possibly with Tony Romo. We're talking about the Raiders. You're talking about Kansas City. I believe we got the Cardinals in there. It's going to be hell next year. So I'd be happy with 10-6. 10-6 would win I think we'll win the division.
Oh yeah, 10-6 will win that division, man, next year.
Well, Sarah Green thinks we're going to be 14-2. I hope you're right, Sarah. And I'll send you an extra shot glass on me if we are. Sterling Moore is available. Yeah, okay.
Sterling Moore, man, 2014 let Aaron Rodgers carve them up too. So come on, man, we need to get somebody fresh. We need somebody new out there, man. Somebody that we can showcase outside of Sterling Moore.
Yeah. I lost it, but somebody was asking me about my thoughts on re-signing Terrence Williams. Price-wise, I think it's a great move, and I don't think you're going to get somebody better without paying a boatload of money right now in free agency. At least, but that's my thought right now. I know people are looking at, we should have got Brandon Marshall, or we should have gone for Deshaun Jackson or Pierre Garçon and one of these guys. But you got to realize how much they're going to be getting paid, and they're coming in getting new to your system. I think you're better with a guy who's been here that that knows Dak Prescott. I don't know what your thoughts on that, if you think Terrence Williams re-signing was a good deal or not.
It's a fickle process, like I always say, but don't sleep on Andy Jones. I really think that He's going to be more knowledgeable of our system. Look out for Andy Jones. I think he's going to wear number 81. And he's going to be the player that everybody's going to be like, man, where this kid is from. He's going to step it up. He's going to step it up this year.
Sky High, what's up? The Dallas Cowboys, of course, always. True Blue, no Romo 8-8. Okay. No more Romo 8-8. Well, let's hope not. But the Dallas Cowboys are lightning rod, so no matter what happened, it's going to be the wrong move because they're going to say if the Cowboys regress next year, they should have kept Tony Romo because, you got a rookie, quarterback from last year and yada, yada, yada. So no matter what the Cowboys do, it's always the wrong move, at least there. Jobu needs another refill. He will after the show because that shot is going to be gone.
Right, the old mantra, what can go wrong will go wrong. I hate that saying that with the aspect of if Romo is not there or if he's here, stuff like that. But it's just crazy, man. All I can say is that this team is going to be a whole lot better, believe it or not, because Dak Prescott is just that type of guy. Right now, he's not eating a sneaker bar. He's not out there partying, as far as I know. He's putting that body together, and he's gonna be even smarter next year. Watch.
He's not out there having back surgery or shoulder surgery either, or out on the golf course. So yeah, I'm excited about the fact that he's young, he's strong, and he's able to work out with the guys. So come training camp, we don't have to worry about him taking a day off and stuff, or not being able to play in preseason because we're worried about him taking hits. He's going to be out there all off season working out with these guys, getting to know them, and everybody knows this is our starting quarterback, except for the Romo fans out there. And he's going to be working with those guys, getting that whole thing together. I still think the year that he had was amazing with the fact that he really didn't work with Des Bryant that much with Des Bryant's injury until the season got on. The fact that he was to be able to take Cole Beasley to another level.
Right.
And being able to use him in the slot because, as much as everybody says he's a dink and dunk quarterback, to me, the offense basically became a low-risk, high-reward type of an offense because you're going to hit the man instead of trying to always throw it down deep. It's a great thing to watch those deep passes, but if you can go ahead and pick off 8, 12 yards at a clip and end up running the football, it's called ball control. And it kept the defense off the field. To me, when we played Green Bay in the playoffs, we went back to almost Tony Romo-esque where we were just trying to light it up down the field. Dak did really well, had over 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, but it got away from the offense controlling the clock by running the ball and doing the short passes, giving Aaron Rodgers more time, out there to pass and basically chew us up.
Yeah, you are 1,000% correct, Mark, on that. And then just think about this, guys. Technically, to perfect, and I mean perfect the fake pass that he did with Dez Bryant, it takes at least a year and a half, close to 2 years. This kid did it within a year. And trust me, Dez Bryant did not play the entire season with Dak Prescott.
No, he didn't.
So for just from that aspect, that was amazing.
Well, you also have to realize that, after the draft, it wasn't like Dak Prescott was getting first-team reps. He was third on the depth chart. So he was basically scout team until Moore went down. Fortunately, Moore went down at the right time because if you think about if had Moore stayed healthy and then Tony Romo got hurt there and he ended up starting in the middle of the season, that would have been set up to fail. But it was kind of the perfect storm for Dak to be able to develop the way he did. I'll be honest with you. I wanted Dak Prescott. I saw him and I saw tons of potential when I saw the films in college, when I kept hearing that he was Tim Tebow 2.0 or, quarterbacks in the Southeast Conference aren't that good, that he's a running quarterback. I was watching the film, and I think I commented on the first video I did on him. To me, he reminded me of Tony Romo, the way he could run around and buy time and keep his eyes downfield. And he could hit guys even across the grain, in stride with the ball. And I kept looking at the talent that was around him. It wasn't like he had great talent and great people. When you looked at the draft, the team people that were drafted after him, I believe it was only a tight end when he came out on the team that was drafted, I think, in the 6th round. So he was playing with inferior talent. And that's what I saw with him. And he was able to take that almost completely in the NFL and duplicate it and able to do the same things. And it's an amazing thing to watch.
Oh yeah, man. That's always amazing when he's able to duplicate something that would just give it to him for the first time. That's something that's beyond my beliefs, man. That guy, like the people say, I'm looking at the chat log too, saying that he's gonna have a sophomore slump. Whatever happened to his rookie wall? I'm waiting for that to happen. So don't get caught up into that myth.
Well, for whatever reason, it's like everybody is always just they're waiting to say, I told you so, because it was that, oh, yeah, well, he's not playing against any good teams and stuff. So, when it came to the Pittsburgh game, oh, he's going to Pittsburgh, he's going to pee down his leg because he's playing against Big Ben. But boom. Oh, he's going to Green Bay. Green Bay's got a number one, rushing defense. They're going to stop Zeke Elliott, and it's going to be all in Dak Prescott, and that's going to be his downfall. But I don't understand why everybody is looking for him to fail. When you look at all these other guys, you don't get the same thing with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz started out gangbusters and seemed like he hit the rookie wall kind of early. The wheels fell off the wagon with him, but I don't hear everybody saying, oh, next year he's going to be, take a step back because he's a rookie. It's only Dak Prescott I hear that about.
Right. So we heard all that, and everybody, all of the scouts, all of the people who were smarter than everybody in this world, right? Had Carson Wentz as the next second coming of Jesus Christ on the football field. Him and the guy that played for the LA now Rams,
What's happening, Jack, man? Nice to see you up on the show. To me, I got to tell you that if this season, with being scrutinized literally quarter by quarter, with forever hearing that, Tony Romo's coming back and he's going to be starting and everything else, if that didn't rattle him, if playing in the playoffs against Green Bay, and although some people will say it's his fault that we lost, I don't see it that way. If he stayed even keeled through all that, to me, there's nothing that he can't handle. I mean, definitely, to me, he's got it. That's what I always like to say. You can't say what it is. You just know it when you see it. And the way he is out on that field, to me, it's just it.
Yeah, he do have that certain factor that he does. He comes unscathed. He's poised in the pocket. He's studying a student of the game, and people just trying to find every flaw in this kid. But I just think he's going to come back with a vengeance, man. Don't forget, he got his master's in I think like risk management or public relations or something like that. So he's going to be able to keep this team together, and especially once he know that this is his team. Y'all watch out. You guys watch out, Cowboy Nation.
Yeah, Rick G, I agree with you. When you have some of these guys talking about, Dak Prescott will regress, it's like, are you really a Dallas Cowboy fan? And I don't understand why. I mean, I understand how much you guys may love Tony Romo, but why is it that you're rooting or hoping or always talking about Dak Prescott's going to take a step back? Aren't you a fan of the star on the helmet? It's the Dallas Cowboys, not the Dallas Tony Romos. Right?
I like that
Dallas
Tony's Romos.
It's like, yeah, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, why are you there talking about how this guy's going to fail and, and ready to say, I told you so? I just don't get that.
People wishing for the miseries, man. He's going to prove them wrong. Instead of finish the fight, I want to have a shirt that says prove them wrong.
Yeah, I think it's time to kind of finish the fight. We've had it 2 years in a row, and it just is not. It's time to move on. Right. Sarah, I agree with you that Dak, to me, the thing that was incredible about Dak was the way he was able to win people over. Jason Witten was Tony Romo's best friend. He won that guy over. Des Bryant is vocal, and Des Bryant is one of those ones that give me the damn ball. But yet he wasn't getting the ball, sometimes one or two passes his way, but you didn't hear him complaining. You never saw him upset on the sideline. You always saw him like as a team player. And to me, it just felt like the team was just different than it had been in forever. I feel good about where we are. I know we've got a lot of challenges between the free agents that we're losing, the concerns on the defensive line, the concerns on our defensive backfield. But I just feel good about the team, better than I have before. I don't know about you, but over the last few years, we could be up in a game, and I'll sit there and I'll start to think, okay, so how are we going to lose this week?
Yes, indeed, man. What comes to mind with that, Mark, it was the old Detroit game. We was up, I think, previous years before we was up on Green Bay.
There was two of those that we were up big. We
Yeah,
made Bobby Carpenter look like a Hall of Famer, if you remember. He got 2 picks, I think one for a pick 6 in the second half after we were up by like 21. The one that will forever kill me is the Green Bay one where we were up 26-3 at the halftime. And so you would get into games in the fourth quarter, we'd be up, and somehow we'd find a way to lose. I didn't have that feeling this year. We had games where we were behind, but it's just like I didn't give up. You know, when we were in Washington, and a lot of people don't remember that we were losing that game, and the Redskins were driving for a 2-score lead. And Kirk Cousins threw an interception in the end zone. Dak drives us down the field. We get the touchdown and win it. You know, by all rights, we should have lost that game. Had Kirk Cousins, if they just kicked a field goal, they would have won that game. But we had game after game. You know, you look at Pittsburgh. We had to come from behind, you know, after they did the Dan Marino fake spike for a touchdown. And it was always like, okay, you know, we're going to win this game. And that's the feeling that I have about them, that I don't feel like we're ever out. So you guys can be naysayers and think negative. You know, Jobu is about spreading the mojo and being positive. I'm going to always look for the bright side of stuff. And maybe that annoys some people, but that's the way I'd like to live my life, and that's the way I like to think about my Cowboys. I'm being positive about them.
No doubt. I say the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl every year. And although I've been on a losing streak, but hey, that's our team, man. And if you're not passionate about it, if you don't like this team, if you may fall on the lines of a Stephen A. Smith saying that we are delusional and stuff like that, then so be it. That's the bed that you want to make, you lay in it. But I'm going to say Cowboys to the day I die. You know, that's just how I feel. That's how I'm rolling. That's how we rolling, baby.
Sven, I think we're going to make you our European NFL consultant, man, because you actually have a lot of great points and insight on the Cowboys. He actually pointed out, and you're dead right about it, he said that, you know, it's the thing that's best about Dak Prescott is every week you get the same performance. Not an all-time great, but you get a very good, consistent performance week after week, and that's the truth. He's not going to go ahead and have a game where all of a sudden throws for 500 yards and 3 interceptions. Every week it's consistent. You know exactly what you're trying to get. And I think a lot of times you're better off without those picks, because those picks can end up being game changers. Yeah, you probably will see him taking more risks next year. And I think that you're going to see him and Dez doing a lot more deep passes just because they'll have worked together more. The coaching staff knows him, knows his strengths and things like that. And the team will need to do things differently, because what happens is something new comes in. RG3 is a great example of this. They came out with a pistol offense, and RG3 looked like world beaters. You know, he left DeMarcus Ware literally just kind of standing there not knowing what to do. Coaches end up having an off season. They figure out your weaknesses and your tendencies, and they can go for it. Then all of a sudden you become RG knee. Would you agree?
Right.
Agree on that? So
yeah.
To me, they'll need to alter and change up, throw a few more curveballs, and add to his repertoire, so that way it'll keep defenses guessing on what's the next thing that's going to come up.
Yes, indeed, Mark. Before you go any further on that, I would just like to just break this down to everybody. When everybody says that RG3 and Dak Prescott are pretty much the same person, that's a big false with a capital F, because if you look at the narrative of what RG3 did his rookie year, he didn't never change or progress. He didn't know how to. He still don't know how to throw the fade route to this day. He still can't throw the hitches. He cannot throw the comeback routes as well. Those that are coming across the middle. He's just only one trick pony. He can do the read options. Yes, he can only make one reads, but Dak Prescott time out of time can show that he can pass to the multiple reads through the third and the fourth read. And he also can do the boot, the waggle. He can pass the comeback back pass. He can do the fades. He can do the skinny post routes. And people was trying to lament the fact that he cannot pass down the field and stuff like that, which he proven that he passes the ball 20 yards or more, top 3 or top 4 in the league, in the whole entire NFL, not just amongst rookies. So people need to pump the brakes when they say or try to compare Dak Prescott to RG3. It's not comparable. RG3 is comparable to Colin Kaepernick, but not RG3 is comparable to Dak Prescott. Impossible.
Yeah, and see that to me again, part of the reason why those guys were able to do so well was, to me, it was like a gimmick offense. You remember the Wildcat? When Miami came out with the Wildcat, all of a sudden, boom, they were picking up big chunks of yards. All of a sudden, everybody started doing the Wildcat, and then all of a sudden, it just died. You know, the Fun and Gun, the all these different offenses come through because they're gimmicky, and they work for a time because teams just don't know what to expect with it. But eventually, they catch up and it changes, and that's the difference between Dak Prescott. Dak can make every one of those different throws and is a typical pocket quarterback. It's not a gimmicky thing where you're doing a wildcat or something like that. It's a true natural offense. And versatile genius, no, I'm not drunk. Actually, I'm a little bit on the tired side because I think I put in like 62 hours working this week. The new job is kicking my ass. And I get up at 4:30 in the morning. So that's why it seemed maybe a little bit like long-winded. That, and I just like to talk about it.
Well, hey, you know, those who think we are too much drinking, hey, y'all pour up some shots. Y'all drink something, man.
I've had literally one drink here tonight, okay? So if that got me drunk, then I don't need to be drinking. I agree with you, James, that I think Dak will light it up next year. But we've actually gone over tonight. It's actually getting closer to 10:30, and I'm tired. And I'm going to need to get up early tomorrow because I got some other videos I need to do and check and see if there's anything else that happens tonight. See if there's any more Jimmy Garoppolo was traded to the Browns or anything else first thing in the morning and stuff.
Right.
But
probably will happen, Mark.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, man. It is always great. This thing is growing like crazy. And I enjoy talking with you guys because you guys literally are my therapy. And I think you guys are what keep me sane. The Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, well, they've got me drinking. You know, my whole motto, it's about spreading the mojo, man. So we're going to keep trying to spread this. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Mike Mosh. Thank you, J-Wad. Thank you, Mr. Chips. And thank each and every one of you guys for joining in. And again, check out Law Nation. I enjoy doing this show so much more having him on here. He's got a wealth of knowledge. Check him out. Show him some love. If you need a jersey, definitely see Mike Mosh. Oh, one other thing. Again, I am just talking my brains off. Monday nights, I do live stream as well. I also do the Benet Emery show on there. I was just found out that our channel actually has 40 different programs on it. The Jobu Sports Report is the highest rated segment on the whole channel between 40 shows. And we've been doing it live stream with you guys. So you guys deserve some of that credit for being part of that live stream. So thank you guys for all the support and everything else. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Law.
All right, Cowboy Nation. I got one more thing to say to you guys. Are y'all listening? I got one more thing to say to you guys. Are you guys listening?
I'm listening.
How about them Cowboys?
All right. And on that note, we will see you Monday night. Have a great weekend and be safe out there.